Hi, and welcome back to the Bonus Features podcast of Reese and Ted. I'm Reese.
And I'm Ted.
And today we're going to be talking about Star Wars. But first, we're going to have a little bit of a catch up. You may notice that we didn't upload last week, and that's because Ted here, he'd gone away on holiday. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Went down to Bath to get some tattoos, so pretty cool. See some of my old uni friends. Just nice to catch up with them. Give me a bit more time to watch some films.
Yeah, you've got plenty to talk about today, don't you?
Yeah. No, I'm fully prepared.
Right, well, why don't you kick us off with what you've watched recently then?
So the other day I watched a film called A Risky Business, which is Tom Cruise's breakout role. Very good. It's probably in contention to be one of my top fours.
Ooh, on Letterboxd.
Because I currently only have 3.
Oh,
and it's a big thing with what would be the 4th, and I think right now I had to put one there, it probably would be Risky Business. But I think it's great. It's interesting that it comes from a director who's quite literally made nothing else. It's like his only big film. Because he's usually a screenwriter rather than director. But it's cool.
Just check, that's the movie where he slides out in his underwear.
Yeah, and it's got a Tangerine Dream soundtrack, which is really cool. It's very synthy. It's kind of poppy. I think it's kind of neo-noir-y. You basically follow Tom Cruise, who's this adolescent, he's late teens, basically. I think he's 17 or something. Or 18, and his parents go for the weekend, so he hires a prostitute to come over, and then things just spiral downhill after that, and he's just trying to fix everything that's going wrong. But it's very good. It's very good.
See, I don't think I could say I've seen something both that I hadn't seen before and was really good. The best thing I've seen was that we rewatched Saving Private Ryan after our World War
that was
special.
Good.
We did mention Saving Private Ryan last week, or week before even. But it is really good.
Yeah, no, it's a classic for a reason.
The opening 20 minutes is just incredible.
Yeah, it's the thing I've heard said where it's apparently that's one of the most realistic depictions of what it was like to land on the Normandy beaches. It's not my favourite war film, but I do think it's a very good one.
It's a very good honourable mention.
Yeah, and it's got a crazy cast as well. And then the only other notable thing for me is that I rewatched Project Hail Mary.
Again, yeah.
Which is just very good. Currently making my way through the audiobook, which is also very good. So I cross-reference it and see where it's different and stuff. Which there's quite a lot of differences. So.
I was going to say, what's the biggest difference you've noticed so far?
A lot of scenes in the film are very dramatized, when in the book throwaway lines. So in the film, the whole thing where Grace can't go home because he doesn't have the astrophage, and then Rocky's I can give you mine, I'll go home 6 years slower. In the film, Rocky's just yeah, you can have that because he has 10 billion kilograms of it in his ship, so it's no issue. But it's not a big emotional scene. It's just Grace starts crying, which he does in the film, but they make it more like a bonding thing. But in here, it's just oh yeah, I have this, you can have that.
I rewatched the first Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the only one I have actually seen prior to it, and I think I watched it while drunk. So watching it last night as a sober man, I quite enjoyed it. It's now actually probably going to drive me to watch the other ones because I've not had much of an interest in them before.
Yeah, no, I've that with a lot of older film franchises where, because I'm young and watched them as a kid, I just have the nostalgia of watching them. So when I go back, it's the Star Trek films, the ones with Chris Pine in. I just quite like them. So if I watch one, I'll sit and watch the rest. So.
You are not the first person to recommend Star Trek to me today.
That's crazy. I don't ever recommend it, but I just like them. So straight into the movie news.
And for the movie news, there's not much to talk about.
Pretty
It's been
bleak
quite
as well.
a couple of weeks. All I can really say is that the Odyssey dropped a new trailer, which I know you've watched.
I have just sat and watched now,
Yeah.
so
What do you think?
yeah, it looks interesting. I'm a bit hit or miss with Christopher Nolan. I think he's overhyped quite a lot in a lot of regards, but I do think he's a good, competent director that can make good things, and he has made films like Memento, which I really like. I think like a big issue with him is that people who want to get into film get told to watch things like Interstellar and stuff and be like, oh, these masterpieces, and then it's like they know people think Christopher Nolan is good, so then they'll automatically just be like, oh, this is another Christopher Nolan masterpiece and stuff, rather than like looking at a film on the merit of the film alone. Like they watch it as a Christopher Nolan film rather than a film made by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I get that.
But it looks interesting. I know he's a big like practical guy, so it'd be interesting to see the story told on a very practical level. Like actually sailing the ships and stuff like that, and big fights that you'd see in like big like in old films where you'd have like thousands of extras. It'd be interesting to see like a real fight where they have these like big armies and actually fight them. So
And yeah, huge cast. So I'm quite
yeah,
excited for that.
yeah. But I also think that could just be another reason why people get like lost in it, where they'll just be like, oh, this guy was so good, it's got all these people, so it must be good.
There is a slight part of me that's scared that I'm gonna walk into it and it's just gonna be absolutely awful.
Yeah. Thing is, I do like the story, as in like Homer's story, you know, the Iliad and stuff. But yeah, it's just whether it's done well, I guess.
Any other bit of news I've got on here is that Matthew Lillard has joined the cast for Superman Man of Tomorrow. Does that affect you in any way? Your thoughts?
No, I did see a post on it where it's Matthew Lillard and McKenna Grace. This is the third like franchise they're both a part of now.
Okay.
Because Scream 7, Matthew Lillard is obviously in the first one. I'm pretty sure there's some like reference to him in the later one. I haven't seen them, so I don't know. But Scooby Doo, he's played Shaggy, and she's now playing Daphne.
I see.
And then FNAF, he's obviously
you say she's now playing Daphne. She has played Daphne before. I think we established this.
what
last time we
McKenna
talked.
Grace?
Yeah.
Oh, was it in the animated?
In
thing?
the
Yeah.
That
But I think
film gets
yeah.
forgotten, but that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen is that there's a new Guy Ritchie film with Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill. Do you know a lot about Guy Ritchie?
The Gentleman, that was Guy
Yeah,
Ritchie,
or
yeah.
like Snatch or Lock, Stock and Barrel.
See, that's my vote. You know, I was speaking to someone the other day, and they said the last time they went to the cinema was to watch Lock, Stock and Barrel.
That's crazy. That was a while ago. Yeah, I quite like him. He's a very very British director. A lot of his films very British centered. So I'd be interested to see how he does on what appears to be like a more generic just action film. The last like generic actiony film I saw him do was King Arthur, which was just not good. So when you're putting David Beckham in a film, it's just not going to be good. So
David Beckham in a film.
yeah, it's like a small cameo, but it's just like made what we do.
Yeah, straight into our feature then.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So we're going to talk about the Star Wars movies. So we're going to talk about our top 5, did we say?
Yeah, I think that about turns it up. As much as I love Star Wars, I think we can all acknowledge there's some things that are not worth bringing the trauma back that I'm watching.
You know who you are, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, no, I think everyone's the same.
But yeah, if anyone wants to avoid spoilers, now's your time, because we are probably going to go a little bit in depth into each of our ones. So I'll let you go first. What is your 5th place?
See, I'm gonna like not limit myself to the films. I'm just going to do like
Oh,
top
you
5
going series?
Star Wars, not just series, but like productions. So
see.
like
That.
TV series or things.
Okay.
Just 'cause I think it's like, yeah, we're rating the franchise.
I might have to rework on the go. But carry on.
So I think for me at 5, I'd probably go Revenge of the Sith. I think, which
Okay.
is number 3.
Yeah.
Which, like, although 5 is like not near 1, I love Revenge of the Sith just because I think it's got the coolest lightsaber fight ever, and I also think that's where like the politics of Star Wars get quite interesting for me, where it's about seizing power and stuff like that, because then it basically just references Julius Caesar, and the way he like held onto power and stuff, and I think it's cool bringing like real world parallels into each other, and seeing how their like, I guess, how their parliament works. Lightsaber fight, I think the fight of Mustafar, I think pretty much every Star Wars fan knows that dialogue between Obi-Wan and Anakin, both before they get into the fight and after the fight, which I could recite right now, but I'm not gonna go through that.
Are you taking the
I'm
moral high ground?
I'm not the chosen one. So, the better visuals you get from it being made like pretty far after the original 3 sort of benefits the film, because you see this complex universe with all this lore, and then you see like, yeah, just like the scale of it much greater, because instead of it being like practical effects, or like, I know a lot of the big like Death Star scenes in the first one are actually hand-drawn paintings rather than using CGI or anything. While I think CGI shouldn't be used like in excess, I think it's good in this sense, because having like an entire world that's just one huge city, I don't think you could like, if it was a painting, it wouldn't feel alive, which a city that's size should.
Yeah.
So I think that's where CGI benefits it a lot.
My 5th place is Empire Strikes Back, which might be a little low for some people, but
Well, I'll surprise you here. My Empire Strikes Back's not even in my top 5.
ooh, okay. Well, my surprise for you might be that this is the only one of the original trilogy that makes my top 5.
That is crazy.
So Empire Strikes Back, for me, it is the peak of the original trilogy. I find the first of that trilogy, I'm gonna get so much hate, quite bland. Like,
What, A New Hope?
yeah, I find of the movies, it's the one I'm least excited to watch. It's fine, it's okay, it's not for me the reason, like that. I can't see that alone being the reason that Star Wars has a million movies and series and a whole incredible fan base. Even though I know in the 70s it was really big, and to this day it's still really popular. For me, its power comes from Empire Strikes Back, almost the perfect sequel argument of coming in and like flipping the tables over and making the rebels, who were victorious at the end of the first movie, on the back foot, running away, trying to sort of keep themselves alive and from extinction. I think the battle on Hoth is amazing. It's like exciting. It's tense at times. So for me, I was watching this as a child, so it's exciting. The Dagobah stuff is fine, but the asteroid chase, that's really cool. I just find it really cool.
It's interesting that you don't like the first one, but I'll go into that more later.
Oh yeah, I know,
because that's in mine. But yeah, Empire Strikes Back, I think it's fine for me. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I like, if I'm ranking Star Wars, I think the only one that might beat it, as in like, I would put Revenge of the Sith above Empire Strikes Back, but then I'd put all of the originals above Revenge of the Sith. Just because I don't know, maybe I'm a nostalgia merchant for the older ones. But I think maybe it's slightly boring, but I think that's because it's a lot more like world building and lore focused than the first one they made or the third one they made. 4 and 6. It does have the most iconic like bit of all time when they're on Cloud City.
Well, this is it exactly. I didn't even.
I think that's like quite a big thing to build up to. But I also think it's the only one where it doesn't feel as like narratively like circular, where you have something at the start that gets disrupted and then it's fixed. It seems very much like Luke's training to be a Jedi, and then he meets his father, and it stops. It's like incomplete, and I guess that's why in the sixth one they pick up the training. So I feel like for me, the first one is its own film, and then the second and the third one is the second film, which is, I guess, kind of a reason why.
Yeah, you don't like the part one.
Yeah,
part two
which is like the
style.
only. So the only real criticism I have about the original trilogy,
This is
and which is maybe why I find it a bit slow, because it takes a lot longer for it to do its whole arc.
well, this is the difficulty with big franchises. They can't like. I mean, they try. We'll come to something that will prove my rule wrong soon. But they generally don't end everything on a sad note without somehow picking it up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
even if it is in a following film, say Infinity War was really good because it left everybody defeated in Marvel, and they were struggling and they're picking up the pieces like whoa. Whereas in this style, like they've lost their ship captain, they're struggling. Luke's lost his hand, like, and just found out that he's like the biggest twist or one of the biggest twists in movie history. It's just occurred there, and they're all sort of on the back foot and struggling, and they need to come back. Like, you can't. I mean, standalone movies can kind of do that, but like that don't have sequels and things going up. It's quite difficult to do that.
Yeah.
In a popular sort of franchise or universe, which is what they wanted to be. What's your number 4?
My number 4, I think I will go for The Mandalorian. I've only seen the first 2 seasons, so this is strictly the first 2 seasons. And I'm also going to class the 2 episodes in the Book of Boba Fett, which aren't the Book of Boba Fett. It's just more Mandalorian episodes, because it literally only focuses on the Mandalorian. So that's the combination of what I'm going to class this as. I think it's cool. I sort of see it as like a second like revitalization of the franchise, where they haven't had the success of the films, the new 3. I guess Force Awakens did very well commercially, but I think that's a lot to do with the nostalgia of people wanting to see Star Wars again in cinema, which is why so many people came to watch it. But yeah, just like seeing the Star Wars world in a part where it's not just the most powerful people, i.e. the Jedis and the Siths fighting. You see a more ground level sort of like view of what's happening, and then things you take for granted in the series, like let's say stormtroopers being useless because they're fighting the most powerful people here. Then you actually see that, like, yeah, these people are really powerful, but like that doesn't mean the other people like below them aren't, sort of thing. So when you see, yeah, just like the grittiness of, you know, the whole universe there, and the sort of after effects of what happens in the films and how that like causes stuff. You see the effects of what happens in the film. I think that's quite interesting, because you just build up more knowledge about like the whole story. I guess it fills in gaps between certain films.
Series that are good for that, to be fair, and I do like when they set something there to go, oh, that, like, seeing the consequence of the events of a movie or just hearing about it. There's a series. There's the only series I have included in this now, where I'll touch upon this in more detail. But actually, like knowing the events going on side by side with what you're watching, and you've already seen that event in the cinemas years prior, so you know what's going on there. You don't need that explaining to you, but you see those little sort of sparks and after effects, or someone sort of directly referencing it, and the people's reaction to it going on live, where you know what's going to happen. Before that kind of almost what their what their fate's going to be.
Yeah.
Even when they don't, it's quite good.
But I just think it's interesting where it shows these characters and gives, I guess, justice to them in a way that the films never did.
My fourth place is Rogue One. Now, this is their first big sort of attempt to spin off, I think, from the main films with another movie. It's not technically the first non-mainline film, but I think it's by far their most successful non-mainline film. Telling the story immediately before A New Hope, a story I didn't know I wanted to know, with an action-packed narrative and a good setup, but also it was so just self-involved. Like they didn't leave loose ends to sort of go, oh, how they've retconned this or they've done that. Like it's all actually kept in quite nicely, and it makes it. I mean, even though you kind of realise towards the end, this is going to be the fate.
Yeah,
it's quite sort of. You still have it's. I felt emotionally impacted watching it. Going, these characters I've just watched do all of this, and know that none of them are gonna come out of this.
Well, I guess like anyone that's watched Star Wars has seen 4, and so certain things have to happen by 4. And like certain characters that don't appear anywhere, so then you sort of know, well, maybe these characters are fated for something else. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's kind of involved in my list as well. But just know that I very much like it as well. Like it's just another example where you see much more grassroots like perspective of the Star Wars universe, especially like something as big as the Death Star. You know, in the films it's just there and you don't really question it, but it kind of gives logistics to how something like that is made, and it just puts like a very real perspective on the universe there. For my number 3, I think I might go Return of the Jedi.
I was going to say, have you not got it locked down?
No, I do.
Okay.
I do. Return of the Jedi, number 6. I love it so much for many reasons. One of them being the victory song where the Ewoks play the Stormtrooper helmets as drums. That is what I think a lot of people would call peak cinema for me. One of the like first things me and my friends like connected with, we were just in an Xbox party, and I started whistling the victory song in Star Wars 6, and then he just started doing like the drum for it. Essentially, it's a match made in heaven.
Bonding exercise.
But I also think it so well wraps up this whole saga where it's spent 3 films building up to this moment, and you see the complexity of all these characters. Where you see Darth Vader in the first one as this like big menacing character who's the epitome of evil, and then in the third one you see a more human side where he's like trying to connect with his son, and then in the third one you sort of you see him wanting to save his son essentially. And I think there's a whole journey that all these characters go on, including like Luke himself, Yoda. We meet the end of Yoda's cycle. I think so well it just wraps together everything, while still making it exciting. Yeah, it's kind of like generic, just having another Death Star blow up. But you know what? made in the 80s. I don't think anyone really cares.
I did quite enjoy it. I'm less of a fan of the Ewoks, but I don't hold them too much against the movie.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. The Ewoks are the best characters in Star Wars.
Yeah, no.
Apart from maybe like Ben Quadranaras. He's my goat. So
Who?
he's a pod racer in
Okay.
in the first one, The Phantom Menace.
Well,
That shows what kind of fan you are. I don't know if you know Ben Quadranaras. Or Jinx Binksley.
oh my god.
My
Right,
goats.
Okay, I'm getting clowned on now.
Sebulba.
I know Sebulba. Right. Yeah, I think it's a good culmination of the three films and basically ties it all in a nice neat bow. It was a good fight. It was nice to see Vader sort of turn back to the good at the end of it, and kind of redeem himself. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, especially with all the series and everything that they've sort of put out since, and I mean, at that point it was literally the third movie, so you hadn't had all the prequels and whatever. But the idea that Vader has redeemed everything he's ever done just by doing that one act, I don't know if that's enough to deserve a Force Ghost and to be recognised on that positively.
I think it's a lot more complex than that.
It is a lot more complex than that. But, my number 3, and it's probably the only time we're going to get to talk about the sequel trilogy. I've got The Force Awakens. I know you're not.
I've got nothing to say in it just because I think it's terrible. But it's like the most unoriginal like screenplay of all time.
Say what you like on it. The Force Awakens is big. It's powerful. It's the epic sort of return of Star Wars to the big screen. It has you start off with some kind of familiarity, but something's not right. Like physics almost have changed a little bit. Where you see for the first time your new characters. You've got Poe and Kylo Ren in the sort of opening scenes, and Kylo Ren being able to hold that blaster bolt shows that this is a new sort of different style for Star Wars. You see blood in it as well. It's familiar but also unfamiliar at the same time. We then get introduced to characters that we do know. We see Chewbacca, we see Han Solo, we know Leia, they're looking for Luke, R2 and C-3PO back. We see lots of familiar faces, but all of the action pieces are big, they're bold, they're out there. It's what I like so much about Star Wars. It's the big sort of battles, the main only good thing of Attack of the Clones is the Battle of Geonosis. That set piece, like the massive battle between droids and clones. For this, there's so many of those massive sort of conflicts that occur throughout the movie, and it feels so grand and epic. And that's kind of what Star Wars is to me: is grand and epic fights. I mean, there's always been massive comparisons between the Stormtroopers and Vader and sort of Hitler and the Nazis kind of thing. But they have that real set piece where they're making that speech to all of those soldiers. They really hammer home how evil these guys are by basically making it look like the grand, like, Hitler speeches, as it were. Like, they really show how powerful and evil these guys are, and then have the massive fight, set piece, huge, like, good versus evil thing. It's epic.
I mean, if they do that in a story which isn't exactly mirrored to A New Hope, yeah, it would be cool. But the issue is the entire story is just A New Hope with these new bits in. It's just the most lazy thing I've ever watched, I think.
All right. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is going to be, I'm going to classify it as Rogue One / Andor, since I think they're the exact same thing. I'm going to spoil Andor a bit here. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I haven't seen it, but go on.
I'll try to do with as little spoilers as I can. But essentially, you follow Cassian Andor from Rogue One. It's like a prequel to Rogue One. And you see, it's like what I was saying with Rogue One. You see Star Wars at the grittiest of the grittiest, like the lowest of the low. It's the thieves that are stealing and stuff. It's people who live in the poorest areas and the stuff they do to get out of it. And it has like rebellion at not a huge level where it's like, here is what you have, Mon Mothma, who's like leaning it on Scarif, or whatever the big jungle planet base moon thing they're on. You see other rebellions in the film done by like in the series done by smaller groups, so it's causing that it's not like everyone congregates in this one area to fight off. You have smaller groups who are doing what they want to, like, I guess, stick it to the Empire, and you just see it at like a much lower level, and the way it's done, it's perfect. I don't want to spoil it because it's so good, but it's like they go into like, again, how the Death Star was built and the economics of it, where they need mass amount of resources and mass amount of money, and they need a way of doing this, but they still have to get it in a way that's politically acceptable, where it's not just like, give us all of this or we'll blow up your planet. I don't want to spoil it because it's so peak, but it's just know, everyone I know that has seen it has been like, Andor is the best thing I've ever seen. So you should definitely go and watch it.
There's one thing that I liked, and it got retconned when Disney decided to pick up Star Wars, which was the idea that actually the Empire wasn't so evil, and that they did everything to build this massive weapon to fight off a threat that they saw coming down the line. And there was originally story arcs from comics and things where essentially this existential universe threat just came in and wiped out like large percentages of the galaxy because they didn't have the defenses there, the massive like Imperial Order, the Death Star, all of these weapons to fight them back because they'd all fallen apart again.
Is this just hypothetical though?
I mean, as I say, it was all retcon, so it's not relevant to the universe now. But I thought that was far more interesting than the direction they have ended up going in the universe.
I guess similar to that is, I think, in Revenge of the Sith, you can see how Anakin is turned because, for example, Mace Windu just wants to kill the Emperor, and then Anakin's like, this is not the right thing to do. Like, he has to be brought to justice, and then kills Mace Windu because he's going to kill Thing, not to save Palpatine. Well, in a way to save Palpatine, but also he's still upholding the Jedi values, where it's not just killing the helpless.
20 minutes before he murders some younglings. It's great.
Yeah, but then Darth Vader murders the younglings. No, Anakin.
Well, he does. And I mean, it's poignant that you bring us back to Revenge of the Sith, because that was my number 2.
That's a topical point.
Yeah, it's a very bold place to go. I love, as I say, for me, it's the best mainline movie, and it was going to be my number 1 before we mentioned series. It's incredible. It's the incredible culmination of the trilogy, but it's so pinnacle. It's got the massive set pieces that we talk about. No, I was talking about before, that space battle it opens up with, incredible, introducing Grievous. Again, bold plot point in essentially another thing Anakin doing as Anakin, killing Count Dooku.
Yeah,
that wasn't bringing him to justice. That's massive sort of indicator of Anakin not quite being directly Jedi, like having that sort of internal quarrelsome what he should be doing, and Palpatine taking advantage of that moment of doubt and weakness to push him. I think watching him develop from what is still kind of like I know he's an adult, but like an angsty teen kind of character, not getting everything the way he wants it to be and being quite impatient. Watching these sort of weaknesses, these fragilities, which the council kind of predicted in the first movie, coming through and sort of tearing him apart and causing. I say essentially causing him to give in to Palpatine, seeing his strength and believing in his morals and thinks that Palpatine will protect him and his interests. Seeing the fall of the Jedi, the massive sort of set pieces before Order 66 with the battle with Grievous and the clones and the droids on can't remember the name of the planet. The Hello There planet.
Yeah, I don't think it's got an important name.
Yeah, I should know it. That whole sort of scene was great. Seeing Yoda in action for a bit. I know we don't see him in much action, but we don't get to see him in too much action across the whole universe. So getting to see his fight with Palpatine and seeing how powerful these two are, it's just so good and just so demonstrative. And you mentioned that final lightsaber battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan, as you say, that is one of, if not the best lightsaber battle we get in the whole universe.
I think not just like choreographed, but the weight
as well,
or like the weight it carries as well.
It is good versus evil in this massive like hellish escape where like Mustafar is this perfect sort of example of showing the whole universe how it's crumbling at that point. Everything's falling apart. It feels like inescapable evil is just consuming everything.
That is a good metaphor. Yeah, no, like I said earlier, I think the politics in it are so interesting. And reasoning and stuff like that. It's just like I said earlier. It's I think it's a much more complex film, and you can definitely like read a lot more into it.
I think the prequels are quite heavily influenced by politics. I think that's
especially the first one, Phantom Menace, with the Trade Federation and
it's a blockade over
stuff like that, which is slightly racist.
It all is politics because it's the first movie got Palpatine elected as senator because of the whole weakness in who the guy that was in charge on acting on Naboo's interests, and the second one was giving him emergency
Star Wars
powers.
Every film is technically.
But then they give him control of the army in emergency powers, which allows him to execute Order 66 in the third one. It does a whole that background arc, essentially, his rise to power and influence in that side. No, you could argue that there's no one more influential in Palpatine getting emergency powers than Jar Jar Binks. He makes that whole speech beforehand and calls for it. I do like the Darth Jar Jar theories that
I remember that coming out when people always thought Snoke was Jar Jar Binks. But yeah, I'm going to go into my number one pick now, which is A New Hope. It's the first one they made, which I think perhaps has the strongest story, since it's essentially just a remaking of Akira Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress, which is a very, very, very good film with a very good story, and it's just translated then from this like feudal Japanese story, about revenge and stuff, and he puts it in space and makes it a space opera. And I think that like translation works so well, and that's why the Jedi's wear Jedi robes. They look like like Japanese outfits and stuff, because it's the homage to Akira Kurosawa, or like the comical transitions that are in the Star Wars films come from Akira Kurosawa's films, which is why I just think the story is so strong, because it's got great foundations from a great director such as Kurosawa.
We will strongly disagree, I think, on this one. As I say, for me, it's although the origins, it for me it doesn't represent Star Wars very well. It's not the big showpiece. It's not the excitement. It's not the thrill.
Yeah, but you're
it's
just
quite
blinded by like the Michael Bayness that Star Wars.
But that's kind of what Star Wars should be.
That's your opinion on what Star Wars.
For me, that's what it should be.
For me,
it's excitement and set pieces and good versus evil, massive like epic fights. Whereas
that's just so basic, though.
But that quite the other way. It's so exciting and thrilling. Whereas I think the story of A New Hope is quite basic. It is quite sort of unexciting compared to the rest of the universe.
You get all the merit and the entertainment from the film itself, not just big fight there, huge fight there. Let's add more fights here.
But I'm like a child when I watch Star Wars, and that mirrors me watching it as a child.
But I think it's slow because
I like the excitement.
It's a complex story that should be slower because it needs time to become what it is. Gareth, what do you have at your one?
My number one pick is the Clone Wars series, and
I haven't seen it.
I'm talking not the original Clone Wars, but the 2008 onwards, the one that started with the movie. Which the movie itself is fine. It's got some good set pieces, some good action, and in the same way as A New Hope, it introduces us to new characters that will be pivotal throughout the universe. We get our first look at Ahsoka. She comes in as Anakin's Padawan, like by mistake almost. He doesn't expect to be getting a Padawan. It's actually Obi-Wan that was asking for a Padawan, but she got signed to Anakin. You see Captain Rex, who becomes really pivotal throughout this universe, and leading some of the more clone-based episodes in the universe. And you get Asajj Ventress, a new lower level villain, as it were. They can't keep always referring to the big dogs. They bring in someone as Count Dooku's apprentice in this to show an evil that could be defeated as someone who's not in the movies. Their fates are always a bit unknown, and that's quite exciting in a universe where you kind of know where everything's leading up to, because it's all set between the second and third movies. Now, there are certain storylines that are better and worse, and you get to see pretty much the entire council. This is the other thing I like, is that all of those sort of characters in the council, at one stage or another, you get to see them in demonstrating their powers in these stories, these actions. You see them go through some things. The first series, I think it's the first series, possibly the second, Ki-Adi-Mundi loses a Padawan when chasing, was it Ki-Adi-Mundi? I think so. Chasing after Grievous, and it demonstrates Grievous's power, because he kind of doesn't get to demonstrate his power that much in the third movie. Is such a different character in this universe. Grievous is just powerful, and like you could tell that like anyone that gets sort of looked over in the movies gets their chance to shine, and it all culminates. I mean, it's good enough. Like this series is good enough, but you get to the last series. They released it. There's Disney releasing it during the lockdowns, and the last 4 episodes are set alongside the third movie, and so you see everything fall apart. You see the reaction of, say, Ahsoka, who's been through it thick and thin with Anakin. She's hearing about everything, him turning. You see the clones that we have watched develop for 6.5 series at this point, like, suddenly fall to orders, like, and how difficult everyone's emotions and reactions are to everything, to try and process everything, to change, to survive, to do what they can. And it's so, Revenge of the Sith, my favourite movie, and this perfectly like bounced off of it, and it was emotional watching that ending. Like, even though I knew it was coming, it was so sad. It's like the only time I think I've cried at Star Wars was that Clone Wars sort of finale that I remember waiting up for to watch as soon as it came out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't really talk about it because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people I know that have seen it said it's really good. It's just something I need to check out, I guess.
But as I say, there's even good episodes. For instance, there's this one set purely on a outpost moon, which it focuses around 4 clone troopers, and that's pretty much it. Like, it's them trying to like survive this outnumbered, terrible situation to then alert the big dogs to come help. There was an attack coming, like, and it was so cleverly done, and you see sacrifice, you see emotion, and then these characters, I mean, they're all named, and you see them later on in the story. They crop up from time to time, and it's so good. Honestly, it's just so good.
Well, I will definitely check it out at some point then.
Well, that sums up our conversation.
Yeah, I think all Star Wars down for now. Anything exciting releasing? Sort of chose this topic with the release of the Mandalorian and Grogu film coming out soon.
Top Gun's getting its anniversary showings as well, so Top Gun and Maverick are both in.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the original Top Gun, so definitely be seeing that. Recommend everyone to go and see that. So.
Yeah, that's about it, I think. If you haven't already, I want to know your favourite Star Wars movie, Jess. Or series. That's where we get a comment that's like, not watched them, don't get it. In this time, Jess can fill us in on her favourite Barbie movie, because she was telling me about how she has watched so many of them, and watched an entire one on TikTok, I think.
Saw a bunch of them in the charity shop the other day. So.
Yeah. What's your favourite 2020 movie?
I'm going to go for a film called Limbo.
Limbo?
Which is about, I think they're Syrian migrants or refugees. Some like ethnicity of refugees that are basically put on this remote island as asylum seekers before they can be allowed to work in the country. So they just have to stay in this place where there is nothing and nothing happens, and try and make a home in a place where not even the people who live there will call a home. And you see, like, it takes a while, but then you get to certain reasons why people are there, and like you see people trying to get out, and so people trying to help people trying to get out of the situation they're in, get their citizenship and stuff. To which it leads up to like a quite significant moment at the end where one guy's like just quite sad because his friend is gonna leave because he's getting citizenship, and then you find out he had to leave his country, not for like work or anything, but because he's gay and he would die there, so he's had to abandon his home because of who he is, and then he's just stuck in this new place that don't want to accept him. But it's very good. I'd highly recommend it.
It sounds good. My returning to the theme of last podcast, which we did talk about, 1917 has got to be my movie of 2020. Let's say the cinematography, the set of making it all look like it was filmed in one take, the story being told on screen, that epic run scene across the front lines while trying to stop everyone charging into a trap and everyone dying, at the epic scale of said movie, whilst also being able to nail the sort of showing how essentially, I don't even know, like this weak sort of element is just trying to survive throughout the movie and get this message from A to B, and how difficult it was. I think it was just a really good representation of Model 1.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's good. It's interesting that it's shot made to look like it's one shot. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say, and I think it's good performances. Maybe slightly unoriginal story, but
difficult to be too original on
it's like, yeah, like I enjoy it and I'll definitely watch it again, but it's not one that like I wouldn't put it in like a top 3 or like a top 5 or anything. But don't get me wrong, like I would enjoy watching it.
Fair.
It's just not a favourite.
Fair enough.
So.
I've been Reese.
And I've been Ted.
And this has been the Bonus Features Podcast. Have a lovely evening. Actually, can I change that? Because it's not even an evening. Like, for most people, they're probably watching it at a random time.
Yeah, I don't think that's too deep there. Unless you want to change it.
I think Jess just keeps this entire conversation in.
Yeah.
Goodbye.